Greetings everybody and welcome to G4G on YouTube. I am your host, as always, Napalm Dawn, and today we're back doing a video that you guys have probably seen me do similarly on the channel before, and that is comparing characters that are appearing in new Marvel games back to their old counterparts in Marvel Avengers Alliance. So thanks to the updates in Marvel Strike Force that we got just recently at the beginning of this week, early June, late May here in 2021, we got the Infinity Watch characters going on in Marvel Strike Force. It built upon two characters that already existed and added three to be a complete 5-person team. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and compare those characters across a few Marvel games and relate them back to where they all started for most of us, and that is Marvel Avengers Alliance. So, the first character that we're going to look at is Gamora. Gamora popped up in Marvel Avengers Alliance along with a Guardians meta right after a Warriors 3 meta. What's interesting is that the two metas went from movie characters to movie characters, and they also went from the agent being part of one of them to the agent being part of the other. And so here's how that all happened. With the Warriors 3 meta, the agent was able to essentially partake in being Warriors 3 with the Tankard, an interesting little item that gave everybody their class bonuses. I did a video way back in the day of triple Tankard tacticians, and then unfortunately the Tankard wound up getting nerfed, where I think it only did it for the agent and not other characters. I don't remember exactly what the nerf is, but it allowed the agent to be a Warriors 3, and it gave everybody their class bonuses before you could activate it manually at level 15 for the character. Then it rolled into a Guardians meta, which featured Rocket and Gamora, Drax, Groot, and Star-Lord. Now, Groot and Gamora were one of the more fearsome ones. Drax and Gamora was also pretty solid, and of course Star-Lord and Rocket were part of the heavy attack meta. So at the time, Gamora looked like this, and then she would eventually get a movie uniform staying as a tactician, and a movie uniform converting to infiltrator, and her sword would change. Her abilities stayed the same from uniform to uniform, but she had different passives. So she started off with Deadly Presence, which gave the team True Strike, which means they avoided most avoidance effects, no pun intended, when they attacked. And she had Master Assassin, where she had a chance to preemptively counter melee attacks, and then she would avoid that attack if she countered. In her Guardian outfit, they gave her Nowhere to Hide, which was all allies, all Guardians of the Galaxy, when they attack, they're guaranteed to hit, which is fairly close to True Strike, but it is a little bit of a bonus to it to have that also. And of course, Tactician and Infiltrator. She had Mortal Strike, which was a deadly crit. It put Doom on somebody and bleeding. She had Demoralizing Shout, which would put Cower on people, Despair, and Doom again, but a 50% chance because it was an AoE. She had Whirlwind, which was an AoE, deadly crits. Mangle, which said people cannot use buff attacks or heal attacks, or heal abilities rather. She had Demise, which would make Doom proc instantly, and then Doom would not be able to apply for a little while afterwards. And then she had Execute, which was a deadly crit. It was stealthy, and it did Fatal Blow. If you don't remember Doom very well, that is when it gets put on a character, it removes a large amount of health when it is removed by time, which I believe was like 2 rounds, or a removal effect. It removes and prevents rezzing. At the time, it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't debuff, because if it got put on you and removed, it procced. If it got put on you and ticked down all the way, it procced. Now, a lot of people think of Doom from the Final Fantasy series, where you get like the timer above your head, and like in 6, the little Reaper would kind of come up from your body and laugh at you. It's similar, except Doom, could be stopped without penalty, whereas in Marvel Avengers Alliance, removing Doom did have a penalty. That meant Gamora and Anti-Venom, who could remove from the enemy team buffs and debuffs. That meant Gamora and Anti-Venom were quite an interesting pair, because Gamora could put Doom on somebody, and then Anti-Venom could forcibly remove it, thereby causing Doom to proc, rather than removing it through conventional methods that would cause it not to proc. So that's what she looked like over there. And here was her game sprites, as we saw. And her bio is the deadliest woman in the galaxy, a heavy title to live up to, yet Gamora has earned it. Bionically and genetically augmented by Thanos himself, Gamora is possibly the greatest assassin the galaxy's ever known. Having broken away from Thanos' control, she is now an essential member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So, over here in Marvel Strike Force, Gamora has been around for some time, and she has a classic Guardians of the Galaxy suit. It almost looks like the team suit from the Time Heist. She has been considered middle tier for some time now. However, in the beginning of the game, she was considered very good because she was a knockout artist. She was a punch-out artist. And she could actually take a little bit of punishment. She wasn't quite a glass cannon. Most people that were skilled with her would go ahead and do Flying Slash when an enemy was weak, but also set it up so that there were 2 weak enemies on the field. You Flying Slash 1, you get the buffs, you get the turn order reset, you Ruthless Blade somebody, you get a kill off of that, and then you Assassin Strike somebody. So it was a 3-2-1 triple play. Now, my Gamora has been buffed for a long time now, and she's been a member of my primary team since forever. Even though she dropped off in the community's eyes, my Gamora stayed strong and was always at max level, and one of the strongest people that I've ever had. And now the game has caught up to her, and I'm in good shape for a good Gamora. She's got a passive of on spawn, gain 4 charged, up to a maximum of 4. Lose 1 charged for each Infinity Watch ally if her health is full at the start of a match. Revive once with 20% of the character's max health. This is the new Gamora, by the way, the empowered Gamora. 20% for each Infinity Watch ally on this character's or any Infinity Watch's ally's turn. Lose a charge. On Adam Warlock's turn, lose 2 charge instead. On turn, if not charged, become empowered. On empowered, fill the speed bar, clear all negative effects himself, heal for 50% of the character's max health. If negative effects are removed, heal the self. So she has kind of become godlike over there, and her abilities go purple, and things change up a little bit. And her sword got a lot bigger now compared to what it used to be. It actually really reminds me of Magic's sword, especially when she has her black uniform. So she has Flying Slash, which is the offense up, and if she gets the kill, the speed bar goes up. This is a chained attack. Attack the primary target, chain up to 2 adjacent targets. On a kill, fill the speed bar again. But now, if Adam Warlock is an ally, this attack can chain to stealth targets, can't be countered. And Assassin Strike is just a solid, typical hit. If we empower her, Brutal Strikes, she does bleeds now. She has Bring to Ruin, clear death proof from all enemies. If an enemy had death proof, apply death proof up to a maximum of 3. To Infinity Watch allies, attack all enemies for 400 damage and apply heal block. And you have Requiem, which does look very, very it's very Gamora-esque, that pose. And it sort of reminds me of Demoralizing Shout on the top part and Whirlwind to a certain degree. It seems to just kind of fit her. I have seen my Gamora go empowered a few times now, and it's pretty cool. And then, of course, the passive is still the same. So that's what Gamora looks like. And over here in Future Fight, she started off with what I think is one of my favorite costumes in the game, along with Singularity, is the universe throughout her armor, throughout her cloak and everything like that. I always love this effect. Singularity has it because it makes it look like the cloak is sort of like a billowing portal out into space somewhere. She gained a Guardians of the Galaxy uniform, which gave her a Zoe Saldana-esque look and sword, but the face is a little bit softer and prettier. And then eventually she would get Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which would really complete the Zoe Saldana look, and she would gain the coat and just a little bit more of a robust armor package over there. Gamora in Future Fight really is nowhere. She is pretty useless. I don't think she has any use in the game right now. Her skills are all super basic, other than Skilled Assassin over there, Battle Cry, Most Dangerous Woman, applies to speed types, attack speed goes up. Just, yeah, not a particularly strong character in the game. So now we're going to move on to Nebula, who, unlike her sister, actually is very, very good. There are times when I will take Nebula, Gamora, and I believe it might be Thanos into like world bosses and everything, and I forget who the third is. Maybe it's Thanos, maybe not, but that third person is the one who dies. And then, believe it or not, Nebula's the one who finishes it off. For a combat character, I find Nebula to be really, really solid in this game. She has a endgame suit. She has the team suit, which these two have synergy with each other. They're basically the same. She had a Guardians of the Galaxy when she was, of course, a villain. This is a rather intimidating look for her. And then you have the classic uniform, which is more like the comics and does bear a bit of a resemblance to Minerva. I definitely like, face-wise, the endgame and the team suit ones better than Guardians of the Galaxy. She is pretty strong. She's lightning based. She has a relatively decent leadership. Not super great, but it's okay. But when you give her a lightning obelisk, she's actually really, really solid. I like Nebula a lot in Marvel Future Fight. Over here in Strike Force, Nebula has been sort of a nowhere character for some time. I've had her bounce around on a few teams for me, and this is actually very close to her Guardians of the Galaxy look. Sort of a weird body. She has that Widowmaker from Overwatch body going on, that almost impossible spine, and a somewhat centaur ass going on over here. But aside from her posture, she's just kind of been okay. She goes good with villains, and she did okay with Cosmic, but now she's got the Infinity Watch team. And it's also good to start stacking her with ISOs. So she attacks the primary target, gains a speed up on her level 1. She has Challenging Foe, which is attack the primary target, gain 2 counters, and now she applies the counters to Infinity Watch allies, which is pretty cool. And then you have Mayhem, which is attacking the primary target, apply a heal block, a percentage chance to chain to adjacent targets, apply heal block to them. If the character has 3 more Infinity Watch allies chained to adjacent targets, gain evade. Counterattack will break the chain. If this character has 3 or more IW allies, this attack can't be counterattacked. It always crits if the target is a summon or a clone. And then you have exploit weakness. On spawn, gain is speed up. If the health is full at the start of the match, revive once. And a plus 15% chance, plus 50% health for IW allies. On a revive, she gains a death proof. On a turn, apply assist now to a random Gamora ally. She gains an assist chance per Infinity Watch. So, really, really good synergy with Infinity Watch now. Unfortunately, in Marvel Avengers Alliance, Nebula was never a hero. She was always a villain. She appeared a couple times, well, actually quite a lot of times in Season 2. She had a bunch of Spec Ops missions, and she was also in some daily missions. She was an infiltrator with high attack and high evasion. I did always find her to be a little bit rough, actually. She was a pretty tough infiltrator back then. So she had a sudden strike, which was an opportunist, which means it would deal extra damage if opportunity debuffs were on somebody. Incapacitation. This is really what annoyed me the most about Nebula back then, was that incapacitation. It would also do targeted. She had a stealth attack that would exploit opportunity. That's right. Opportunist makes opportunity debuffs, and Opportunist exploits it. Shockwave, which was also pretty rough to go through. This always seemed to hit hard. It was subtle, and it created static charge, and then she had a buff, which would give herself steadfast, nimble, and combat reflexes. She was a pretty annoying character to go against. So I would say, whereas Gamora could be a toss-up between MAA and Marvel Strike Force as to where she's hitting her really good power level, I would say they're honestly about equal, because the same thing happened to Gamora in both games, where she started off really, really strong when the Guardians meta was a thing, and then sort of eventually faded. I did a video, 2 videos back in the day, of Gamora and PvP, which was one of my most watched MAA videos, believe it or not, and Gamora with Anti-Venom because of the dirty trick with Doom. She definitely did not survive being meta until the end of the game, so I would probably have to give a nod to Gamora being more powerful in Strike Force than MAA, even prior to the rework, because you could still use Gamora almost under any circumstance, even if she fell out of favor with a lot of people. Up next is Phi Lavelle. She is one of the new characters that we have here in Marvel Strike Force. She did show up in Marvel Avengers Alliance, however, it was towards the end of the game, and it was at a point in the game where, honestly, the game was dying, just the public population really wasn't aware of it. After Pfizer, it is believed that with Ronan over here, sort of like draw a line between Pfizer and Ronan, that people believed at this point they knew the game was... Playdom knew the game was dying, and the characters were OP. Ronan, I think, is right around the border, and perhaps not into that, but the last 3 characters, Phyla, Warlock, and White Tiger, absolutely were over the top. Way too strong. So Phi Lavelle is the offspring of the original Captain Marvel and Elysius. She is the byproduct of Titan cloning technology to create her genetic twin brother, Genesis Vell. Trained on Titan, she took up the mantle of Captain Marvel after her brother was driven mad by his own cosmic awareness. She has a romance with Moondragon, and the two have eloped, exploring the galaxy together. For a time, Phyla was the new Quasar and joined the Guardians of the Galaxy alongside Moondragon. However, when Moondragon was killed, and this... Oh, there we go. By Ultron, Phyla became the Avatar of Oblivion in order to bring her back to life. As a martyr, she fights alongside her fellow Guardians of the Galaxy, but with a dark purpose yet to be revealed. So, interesting backstory. She is the Avatar of Oblivion, which was a passive attack buff, immune to demise, despair, and doom. That's very strong. Energy conduit, high chance to protect allies from energy and magic attacks. Attacks protected this way are countered, attacking all enemies, applying melt armor, internal bleeding. Again, very strong. Trained on Titan. She's both a scrapper and a bruiser. She's a Guardian of the Galaxy, and she's also a martyr. Guaranteed to survive being KO'd once, restored to 100% health, removes all harmful effects, takes 2 actions every round after being restored by mana. I mean, that's just ridiculous. She was... If she had made it into PvP, she would have been a Cloak and Dagger Spitfire. Absolutely. She would have been so tough to take down, especially with her immunity to res and healing related debuffs and everything. She caused pain, internal bleeding, which was a form of bleeding that you couldn't remove. Brutal Strike, Deadly Crits, same thing. Doom, again. Mangle, which was the buff and heal one, and Omen, which is new to her, removes and prevents most healing effects while active. So it's like Heal Block and Marvel Strike Force. A quick action that was subtle. All enemies get Demise, which causes Doom to trigger immediately, so she's very good with Gamora. Dark Forces, chance to cause a harmful dark effect. Agony, suppresses most effects that prevent or remove debuffs. And all allies gain Skittering Darkness, which was a chance to avoid attacks. Attacks become stealthy. And then Pray to Your Gods, which was a Gamora-esque final blow. So she's a bit of like a Damian Hellstrom Gamora mashup. Here, she has Meteoric Slash, which is offense down, chains to targets, and it applies offense down again. If Moondragon is an ally, it can't be counterattacked. Quantum Cutter. Clear all negative effects from self and all Infinity Watch allies. Clear 2 random negative effects from all other allies. Barrier herself and her allies. If Adam Warlock is an ally, barrier herself and all Infinity Watch allies. Attack the primary and adjacent targets. Marvelous Finish. Attack a primary target for a lot of damage and piercing. Offense down. Apply defense up, offense up to IW allies. If the primary target has any positive effects, apply 2 death proofs to IW. And Avatar of Oblivion. Defense up. Death proof to a character when they get low. I mean, it's crazy. Just the fact that these Infinity Watch characters revive. The fact that you get so many death proofs. It would be really, really tough to take down a jacked up IW team. And for her, I went ahead and put Striker. Gaining an extra attack on vulnerable enemies. And the reason why I did that is because it's more chance to apply offense down. And really, I should have Nebula set her up and go for Skirmisher. I thought I put somebody on the team Skirmisher. And over here in Marvel Future Fight, we do have a Phyla. And a pretty similar look. Skills slash, so there's some bleed, a whirlwind, which has got immunity to damage, increasing attack, Justice Lariat, which is a stun, energy eruption, bleed damage, a bind, quantum blade blast, a stun with invincible, quantum armor is a passive, she reflects energy damage, so you can see the energy stuff going on between Future Fight and MAA. And energy control, an increase in energy defense. So, sort of an almost Vampire Lord-esque outfit over here, whereas Strike Force and Future Fight have gone more of this star route. Not exactly as big of a fan of her troll doll hair here as I am this look. It's more stern, but the armor is a little bit better, a little more involved. Here the shoulder blade doesn't look or the shoulder pad I think doesn't look quite as good, and I don't think the hair is as good. Face is pretty cool with the white eyes. Sort of has that Storm Thor-esque look. So, Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock, when he dropped an MAA, is right around the time we really knew something was up. Because he was just super OP. Tons of damage was baked into his kit. And just huge numbers that he could put out very easily. Cosmic Detonation as a passive deals damage to all characters when KO'd. Cosmic Force. Gain cosmic strength after an action. I mean, that right there was rough. Energy Warding takes less damage from energy attacks, similar to how Phyla works. He was a flyer. Cosmic Cocoon returns to full health and activates a Cosmic Detonation when his hit points were reduced to 0. And then Cosmic Strength, increasing attack and defense, but it was removed by Neutralized. Ridiculous character, Cosmic Beam, Energy Suppression, Cosmic Burn. And then he had the Cosmic Uppercut, which gave Cosmic Glow as a debuff. Then he had the White Supremacy symbol over here, as a joke by the way. Cosmic Sorcery Multifunction. And Cosmic Blast, which was his big hit. And that's how he looked. The blue and the red lightning strokes coming down. Here, he has sort of a golden appearance. And Future Fight is probably going to reload. Yeah, that happens sometimes when you multitask. It's sort of a Sentry look to him over here. Potentially maybe a nod to how he appeared in that chamber at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. He does ability blocks and stuns. Well, prolonging the duration of all negative effects, excluding ability block and stun. It will eventually give him bleeds. Enfeebling Blast. Here is an ability block. 50% chance to apply ability block to all enemy villain protectors. And then applying Disrupted to the protectors. Power Overwhelming Safeguard to all Infinity Watch allies. Attacking the primary target and applying a stun. Not really too sure exactly what Safeguard is quite yet. And he's the Avatar of Life. So where Phi Lavelle was Oblivion, Warlock is Life. On spawn, apply Safeguard to self and all IWs. And he's got that revive going on over there. Immunity. Wow. That's just ridiculously strong right there. Which is kind of how we felt about Warlock at the time. Now, he is in Future Fight, and he was a bit of a splash when he first dropped. I believe he was used a lot in Timeline Battle, which is kind of a basic PvP for Future Fight. However, right now, I don't think Adam Warlock is anywhere. I don't think he's used for anything. I don't think he has a grand place anywhere. He's just, kind of hanging out, being Adam Warlock. Retains the lightning stroke, but instead of the blue and red, it's a black and red, and a little soul patch goatee over there. Space Boulders, Psychokinesis Orb, Space Piercing, Pinnacle of Evolution. So there's that Revival, Cosmic Master, Quantum Storm, and Ultra Senses. So it's sort of interesting how each game has been very different in their representation of Adam Warlock. You don't see a lot of similar abilities, and some of them don't even have the same looks. And then finally, we have Moondragon, which I believe we do not have Moondragon in Future Fight. Just Moon Girl. Yeah, we have Moonstone, Moon Knight, Moon Girl. We do not have Moondragon over in Future Fight, so that can drop out. But we did have Moondragon here in Marvel Avengers Alliance. At the time, during my streams and videos and everything, I used to call her Vija from the old Star Trek movie because of the bald head. And jumping over to Moondragon as a hero, she was sort of a healer to a certain degree. She had foreboding sensitivity. She takes reduced damage from counterattacks and follow-ups. Mental perception has a chance to grant allies an action that cannot be interrupted before Moondragon takes an action. Chance increases if an ally is a Guardian of the Galaxy. Psychic Warding, taking less damage from psychic attacks. She had Psychic Beam, which is a psychic energy attack. It gave a buff to all allies, and she got a buff. She had a multifunction, Mental Blast, which was pretty strong. It was all enemies, and it did Cerebral Agony, which was a psychic debuff, a dot. And then Perforating Combo, because she was considered somewhat decent in hand-to-hand combat. So let's see. Psionic Assault. Mind control a summoned enemy. So again, we're seeing a bit of a continuation of psychic attacks. If a primary target is a protector with immunity, flip immunity. Telepathic Burst, healing all allies, attacking all enemies. A bit of a Minerva there. Psychic Discipline, on spawn if the character is 3 more Infinity Watch, allies gain charged. On kill, gain a charged. And then she gets a bunch of focus. So she is the support of the team. And if I remember correctly, she's supposed to be Drax's daughter. Let's see what the game says. Heather Douglas survived an attack on her family by Thanos. Raised on Titan, she studied mental and physical. She has latent psychic abilities. She was drawn to the cosmic entity known as the Dragon of the Moon. Her father, Arthur Douglas, is Drax the Destroyer, and she joined the Avengers, and then she would become part of the Defenders, Infinity Watch, and then a Guardian of the Galaxy. So there is the reference to the Infinity Watch. I know the Infinity Watch is not a Rolex. So here they are. Here are the characters. Right now, my Nebula and Phi Lavelle are on a team that I haven't saved yet. Warlock is not available. Moondragon is. In a weird way, I've never seen him go before. In that you can buy 10 shards for 800, and she is a 100 unlock. So you would need to spend 8,000 cores to get her this way. We should be getting a different way of getting her, and I think it'll be worth it, because whereas the Infinity Watch passives keep people from dying and then bring them back if they do, Moondragon also just keeps them from dying, and it seems like it's going to be a rather formidable team, in my opinion, over here. I mean, it's just going to be so tough to take them down at full strength. They lack a tank, though, which is a little bit interesting. They don't really have anybody who tanks, so they're going to have a healer and 4 DPS, really. So there you go, guys. There is taking a look at the Infinity Watch characters in Marvel Strike Force and comparing them to their counterparts in Future Fight and Marvel Avengers Alliance. So Future Fight features Gamora, Nebula, Phi Lavelle, and Adam Warlock. with Nebula actually holding her own in the game. Gamora is nowhere. Warlock has fallen off. I'm not really too sure if Phyla is popular or not. Over in Marvel Avengers Alliance, Gamora definitely enjoyed some popularity. Phyla never got the chance to. Same with Adam Warlock, because they arrived at a very overpowered part of the game for their existence. And then Moondragon actually did see some PvP, especially with the psychic set that was popular at the time. So, what do you guys think, and where do you think each character was at their strongest? For Gamora, I'm going to give the nod to Strike Force, but it was very close. Nebula, I'm actually going to give it to Marvel Future Fight. Phi Lavelle, tough to say in Marvel Strike Force right now. She probably would have been ridiculously overpowered in Marvel Avengers Alliance. The same for Adam Warlock. And Moondragon, until I see her in action, I might actually give the nod to MAA because of her psychic abilities, and psychic abilities are always super tough to deal with. So thanks for watching the video, guys. Have yourselves a good weekend.